In this video, I bring you along with me for a two-part video series on why it's important to be connected to your local fire marshal. I'm also going to tell you how to utilize your existing customers to build new connections. That way, you can get more organic referrals into your business. And if you watch the entire two-part video series, you're going to have a way better understanding of why building these relationships is so important. But before we get into that, if you guys are interested in learning more about striping, pricing breakdowns, how to get customers, marketing packs, legal packs, and much, much more, be sure to check out the How to Stripe course. It will be the first link in the pinned comment section and the description. All right, let's go. In this video, I'm talking about the reasons why you need to be connected to your local fire marshal, because by doing this, it's going to not only establish you as the subject matter expert, but also get you more referrals within your business. That's what we're talking about in this video. So I'm bringing you along with me on this job site. As you can see behind me, it's a pretty big job site. Warehouse over there, diesel trucks behind it, pretty big job site. Well, initially, when the customer first called, he called me about getting some lot lines restriped. Wasn't that many lines. There was about 15 lines, one access aisle, and one handicap symbol. Wasn't a big job, but we did charge them a job minimum, and they had to pay $750 to get the job done. Well, the fire marshal gave them a call, since they're a new occupant, and told them that they were going to have to update the fire lane on the property before they were allowed to move in. So after we striped the job, the customer called me back the very next day and told me that he needed to add fire lane. Well, as a service provider, this is music to my ears. I absolutely love hearing things like this, because not only do they have a high intent to purchase, but they also need it before they're open. So overall, it works out great for me, because not only do we charge for the striping, but we also charge for a new layout portion on this project. The fire marshal gave them a diagram of how he would like it to be. Now, what's different as opposed to this diagram and the other one is the fact that the other diagram that I showed you in the previous video, that diagram only had 90-degree angles, but this diagram has 90-degree angles, and on the diagram, he said there needs to be a 28-point radius turn. So we've got pretty much all of it laid out, except the radius point, because I want the fire marshal to come on site with me to show me how he wants it. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you along the area where we're going to lay out the new fire lane, and then talk to you about why it's important to be connected to your fire marshal. Let me turn you around. Okay, so the fire lane is going to start right here on this gate and on the other side of that gate. What is very interesting about this is that we've already got concrete joints coming from that entrance all the way to the other side. And it's a pretty straight line. And they want it connected from each gate entrance. Well, when you come over here to this side, there also is another crack. So the way he's got his diagram drawn out is the top part, the north side of the property that runs east and west from the entrance gate, is a lot wider than the tail end that goes north and south. Now, it has to be 20 foot wide. Now, the fire marshal told the customer that the fire lane from the face of the building needs to be 20 foot wide. So, once we take it from that gate entrance using this line, and then from that gate entrance using this line. Now, the benefits of being connected to your local fire marshal is not only does it establish you as the subject matter expert, but it also builds brand recognition with the city. And that is what you guys want to do. you want to build brand recognition with the city, because if that fire marshal goes on site on that property and does any more violations or talks to any other property owners, if you're connected with them already, what that does is positions you by the fire marshal and local code enforcers as the go-to person to fix problems that may arise just like this. And this is a benefit for you, big time, I can promise you that, because you're gonna get more work this way. Now, what I wanna show you is something that's very interesting. So, I'm taking you along right here, and I'm showing you the chalk line. See that? Just a little bit of striping. We charged 750 bucks. Took us less than an hour. Now, that fire lane is gonna run right there, connect to the tail ends of those lines. It's gonna angle off right there and go right to that curb. Also, as the diagram, I didn't lay this out, the fire marshal did, but we just followed the sketch directions that he gave us. So then we start from right here. Remember how I told you it's that second long crack from the east of the building? So there's our mark. We're gonna come from right there. So there's our mark. We're gonna come from right there at that point, angle over, and then hit that curb line. What is interesting about this though is it's not gonna be perfectly perpendicular. It is gonna have a slight angle change because we didn't measure from there, which we probably could have, but if we would have made this perpendicular, it would have made it kind of cut in the driveway. So obviously we didn't want to do that because we didn't want to cut it in the driveway, but we've got it laid out like this. So what I'm doing now is I'm waiting for the fire marshal to come on site to approve what I've got laid on the ground. And that's what you guys need to do. Now, when you're dealing with a code violation, what you do not want to do is just stripe the parking lot and move on. Now, in most cases, I'm sure that that's going to be fine. Not a very big deal, but what you don't want to do is stripe it, move on, and then get called back because you didn't verify it with the property owner. There are a lot of ways to still be in code, but have different layout functions, if that makes sense. So there's a couple different ways that we can lay this out. But the reason why I wanted to call the fire marshal out here is because I want the fire marshal to approve the layout, and I also want the property owner and the fire marshal to be on the same page. That way, when I, as the service provider, put the paint on the ground, everybody is in complete agreement, okay? Take your time. You don't have to be so fast to where you stripe it and move on, because what you don't want to do is have to sandblast about 2,000 linear feet of fire lane, because that will be absolutely horrible. So take the time and make sure, then make sure everybody's on the same page. Anyways, guys, the fire marshal's gonna be out here in a minute. I just wanted to talk to you about that. Always make sure that you're looking up your local, federal, and state regulations as it pertains to whatever county, municipality, or parish that you live in. Always, always, always do your research, because you want to be a reputable company. You don't want to be the kind of guy that doesn't take the appropriate time and consideration to make sure that things are done right. We do that where I'm from. We make sure things are done right. That's how we do it. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. We will see you in the next video.